Today, we're going to take a delightful stroll down the red carpet as we explore celebrities who've enjoyed the timeless charms of gingham fashion. Thanks for joining me here at Cassie Sews, where we are mastering that home sewing game one stitch at a time. Gingham is this iconic checked fabric that really has been enjoyed by celebrities over many decades. So today we're going to dive into those showcase of 10 celebrities who flawlessly incorporated gingham into their wardrobes. After we've done this tour of gingham on celebrities, we're going to move on to part 3 of assembling the must-have gingham shirt dress. All right, so here is our 10 celebrities. Number 1 is Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn is probably the epitome of timeless elegance. She rocked a gingham dress in the classic film Roman Holiday, and this chic outfit put her on the map as an enduring symbol of both grace and style. Pictured here in my presentation today is Audrey in a pair of casual gingham pants, but she still looks totally elegant, don't you agree? Number 2, Brigitte Bardot. She's a French fashion icon. Brigitte Bardot embraced gingham in her signature casual yet glamorous style. Her gingham ensembles often featured off-the-shoulder tops and flirty skirts. The picture I chose here today, I love the bounce and the gathers in the skirt. I think it looks so good. Number 3, no list would be complete for fashion without the legendary Marilyn Monroe, with such a huge style icon. You know, she was always known for her beauty and her leading fashion looks. And you can see from the pictures I've gathered here that she did have a thing for gingham pants. It was obviously an iconic part of her casual laid-back style when she was wearing more casual clothing, because you can see there's multiple times she's been snagged in a photo wearing gingham pants. Another testament to the timelessness of gingham. Number 4, Judy Garland. Her outfit is perhaps the most famous gingham outfit of the last century, and that is the oh-so-famous Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. In this movie, she captures the hearts of her audience with a character that exudes girlish charm, and her outfit just spoke to iconic farm country clothing as well. Such a famous dress, what's not to like? Number 5, Taylor Swift. As you know, this modern day pop sensation, Taylor Swift has been spotted donning gingham dresses and tops, and she seems to effortlessly blend like vintage and contemporary pieces. No matter what I see her step out in, she just looks elegant and refined. The ways that she chooses to use gingham, if you ask me, are no exception. Number 6, Reese Witherspoon. Reese is close to my heart because, just like me, she's 5'2". She's a petite. And when you are a petite person, you do have to give some consideration to print size and how you put your outfits together so that your clothing doesn't overwhelm you and make you look shorter than you already are, right? Well, if you ask me, Reese makes anything look great with her natural sense of style. She has been spotted wearing this iconic fabric more than once. It does suit her well. Look at a couple of pictures I've included here where no matter which way she puts gingham together, she just exudes style, don't you think? Number 7, the acclaimed actress Diane Keaton. Such an acclaimed actress, Diane Keaton added a touch of androgynous flair to the gingham when she did a signature tailored pantsuit. And if you look at the picture of this suit, she expertly combined gingham in a way that looks grown up and stylish. I think it looks so good. This lady has some great style, and she proved with this outfit that gingham can be both playful and sophisticated all at once. Very clever. Number 8, Vanessa Hudgens. Vanessa upgrades her look with a statement-making gingham blouse in the picture shown here that demonstrates her flair for fashion. In the next picture I'm including, you can see that she has a carefree, casual look with this midi-length black and white gingham dress. No matter which way she puts it together, Vanessa Hudgens always looks so good. Number 9, Kirsten Dunst. One look at this dress, and I think you'll have to agree that Kirsten exudes a carefree elegance with this outfit. I think that this dress really demonstrates very well how we can use gingham to create different moods, because the dress she's wearing in this picture is a little more dressy, kind of like my gingham is not a really flat cotton, it's more dressy as well, right? So like with this dress, it's more dressy than what you'd wear to the beach, but somehow the way the color and the lines of this dress are, it still has this cool summer elegance. I think she wore it really well. And then finally, last but not least, call it number one position, is the royal family. That's right, we could not miss them. The royal family are global fashion icons, and they tend to set the standard for so many fashions. So how cool was it? I found examples of the royal family also sporting the iconic gingham fabric. So what we have here is Her Royal Highnesses, the Duchess of Edinburgh, and the two Princesses of Wales. All three here, Sophie, Diana, and Catherine, have photos here displaying the use of gingham in sleek and stylish ways. And so if you ask me if gingham is good enough for the royal family, it's good enough for me too. So in conclusion, guys, gingham has a timeless allure that transcends generations and has been embraced by some of the most iconic celebrities in the fashion world. So whether it's the classic elegance of Audrey Hepburn or the modern chic of Taylor Swift, these celebrities have shown that gingham can be both nostalgic and contemporary, and it proves, if you ask me, that this pattern will forever have a place in the world of fashion. So thanks so much for watching my little presentation on who wore it best, celebrity gingham.
Hey everyone, if you're enjoying this series, hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you won't miss another thing in this series or any of the other great videos to come. Thanks, guys.
I'd love you to put your comment down below and let me know, of the 10 that I chose, who do you think wore gingham best and why? I'd love to hear your comments down below. And now we're going to move on to the next leg of this video, which is part 3 of the making and sewing of the must-have gingham shirt dress. So stay tuned for that. It's coming up next.
And this footage is me assembling the lining pieces of the skirt together, simply doing the seams. Not much else to say here, guys. Can you believe it? This dress is meant to have pockets, and I did intend for the skirt of my dress to have these pockets because there's something you come to love when you're wearing it. I am going to make these pockets, and can you believe it now? Yet another piece of this dress. I'm going to have to unpick the side seams at the top portion of the dress skirt to install the pockets. Honestly, I'm not working off the directions yet because I was like, oh, I'm just going to fix up the fabric on the skirt. And I kept going in, oh my gosh, look at everything I got to do now. But anyways, let's get it done. So here's the next thing I'm going to do. I'm lining up the top of, the skirt and the lining together. And I had purposely cut this about 1 inch above the end of there. And so here's my thinking is, before I stitch these two pieces together at the top, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hem the lining piece so that all that I'm hemming once the dress is sewn is the actual skirt part. I'm not going to do that until I have that, those front facing pieces and stuff done, but there's no reason I can't press and take up the hem on this without the cumbersome layers of everything else being attached. So next we're just going to do finished 2-inch hem fold up, which means I'm going to fold back like 1/4 inch and then fold back another 1.5 inches so that the total amount of fabric I took up is 2 inches. Here we go. And now you can see the hem is all pinned up all the way around. A 1/4 inch turn first, and then another 1.5 inch hem allowance pinned all the way along. I've eased it with the iron as best I could. I don't know what this big thing of thread is here. Sorry about that. Anyways, you can see I've eased it along best where I could. And you know, once we have that stitched and it's the underside of the skirt, this is going to be just fine. It's going to be great. So the next steps now is I'm simply going to run a machine stitch all along there. All right, YouTube, welcome back. So I just wanted to point out here that we have the lining skirt for the dress. There it is. So there's the lining skirt for the dress, all set to go, maybe hanging a little awkward, but in any event, it's folded and pressed. The hem is pre-pressed. It's basically straight. And so that is going, of course, under the gingham skirt here. So remember, we've got pockets sewn into the skirt. It was cut on the bias. I've added some piping to make an interesting hem. This is going to have a 2-inch hem, so it's going to end at 4.5 inch length from the piping to the end. So now that I have the hemming pinned up into place like that, you know what I'm thinking? I could hem the skirt after the dress is sewn, and I probably will, but you know what I think I'm going to do before I sew the rest of the dress is I'm just going to pin up. I'm going to press and pin up into place the hem of this skirt so that it's just going to be so much easier to handle, and we know it's going to be straighter. So I just want to show and acknowledge what is capable of being done with easing in a seam. This is a little easier at 1.25 inch, but look guys, I've had the occasional spot I have to do a tiny press tuck like that, but look at this. This measures out pretty much an exact perfect 1.25 inch, only the occasional seam tuck. And let me just show you how that's going to turn over into a hem here. Right, so we have, you know, the piping that I stitched in with the double seam here to hold everything in place, and this is what the hemmed edge is going to look like. We got a beautiful pretty much 5 inches from the piping to the hem edge. Look how crisp that is going to be. I do plan to machine hem it, guys. Like, this is meant to be washed and worn lots, put into heavy use, and I want the quick convenience of a machine hem. So it will be machine hemmed, but so far what we are pressing is coming up like how I want exactly. This is perfect. I'm really happy with perfect. All right, everyone. So I just wanted to show you, I have this pressed up. Look at this. Okay. I've pressed up 1/4 inch and then 1 1/4 inch. So you can see, right? The 1/4 inch and 1 1/4 inch pressing in here, hopefully. And I've never had anything press up so beautifully, I think, in my life. I'm so excited about this. I am going to machine hem it once again. Speed, durability, practicality. It is going to be machine hemmed. But guys, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of myself. This is like pretty near a perfect 5 inch or close to it all the way around. You see I got my pattern, so it's mostly lined up either way, you know, for the bias cut. And I think the skirt's going to turn out really pretty. So next thing is the hand, or pardon me, the machine hemming what I've pressed and pinned out here, which I've measured and measured and measured, and pretty near every spot along here is hitting that 1 1/4 inch and leaving a more or less 5 inches or close to it between the edge of the piping ribbon here and the end. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. This is definitely what I was going for. All right, everyone, so I've completed the machine stitched hem. I opted for a 4 on my machine for stitch length. So it's a longer stitch. It's a bit more of a relaxed stitch, but you can see it just goes around the edge, eases in, right? We got a couple of ease marks like that. But basically, you know, we got that 5 inch from the border. It's actually turned out really pretty. I'm really happy with it. My next steps now is I'm just gonna baste the pockets to the front, and then I'm inserting the lining, and we're ready to begin assembling the rest of the garment. And so now, as a final step of installing the skirt lining, you see I have the right sides, or you know, wrong sides together. The waistband is pinned, and it's gonna result in a hem, which is pretty much what I planned here, right? That the hem of the lining and the skirt, they are well within each other, a distance that I never have to worry it's gonna show from the outside. But guys, this is gonna sit so floaty and lovely. I'm super happy with how this has turned out. It's gonna really add to the finished look of the dress. All right, everyone, so we have the skirt completely sewn and hemmed, pockets done, everything. This is ready to be installed into the dress. Back to this pattern. So once again, we are making Butterick 6333. I'm doing dress top C. It's literally the same top for all 3 views. The only thing that changes about them is the sleeves or no sleeves, right? So we're using the skirt that I created and attaching it here. So from the waist up, we're doing view C. I already had these parts cut out. So I have the sleeve here, the short sleeve cut out, and the front and back bodice pieces, and the facing, you know, for the buttons down the front, and the sash. I have all that cut out, and I do have just this much of the piping material left that I never stuffed it, right? I used it as a flat piping. So I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to cut this open and insert that there, or if I want to install it on the end. But I do think I should put some of this trim on the sleeves as well. So here's both front and back sleeves. They've been serged, clipped, and pressed, right? And you can see the end pieces, like the shape for the sleeve, where it curves up and stuff, they match. Like I've got them right sides out or together, however you want to call it. Anyways, from here now, we are going to install the piping with a 1/2-inch seam and then another layer top stitching on top. Super easy.
Good afternoon, YouTube. Just checking in where we're at on the gingham dress project. So if you recall, we have the skirt back here, fully hemmed, fully piped, ready to go. And I must say, so far it's looking great. It's looking so good. I'm so happy. And then I did cut out and stitch the 2 sleeves. So what I did with our short cap sleeves is, you can see they do have a arc shape to them, so that once the sleeve is assembled, you can see it'll, you know, sort of do a nice little arch up on the arm. So that's great. So this is 5/8 of an inch piping fabric that I did not install any piping into, that I installed by doing a 1/2-inch fold on the fabric after I serged it, and then I stitched it down so that you end up with the piping showing, right? I edge stitched that down into place, and then I did these 2 lines of stitching to hold that into place. And so now we have that finished seam with the double stitching and the single. I think it looks pretty good. Pretty happy with it. So from here, we are assembling the bodice front and back, attaching the collar, attaching the bodice to the skirt, and then attaching the sleeves. And once we have all that done, we do buttons, buttonholes, and the sash, and it'll be ready to wear. All right, so let's check out the next step. You can see that on step 1, we have all the fabric markings in place, and as per directions, I stitched, stay stitching down each of the outer sides. This is the center front panels. Those are going to be stitched to these side panels. You can see where the markings are going to match up, right? So we're going to clip the curves of this to ease this into place together. And so basically, you can see this is the front that we are working on here. See the word front there under my finger, right? So this is the bodice side front and bodice front, and other side bodice front and side front will be there. That is what we are doing next, is attaching those pieces together. All right, so I just want to show you that now I have the markings done on the side parts as well. Next thing we're going to do is clip the curves on the stay stitched parts, and then we're going to pin and ease fit this together on each side and then stitch it together. So now I have both sides pinned to the favor of how I'll sew on the machine. So with this one, the clipped curved side is up, and on this one, the clipped curved side is down. See the clips, but they are both positioned so I can sew from top to bottom on both sides. This is pinned into place, but you can see that the side fronts and fronts are stitched together and pressed. So the next thing that I do before we continue on is I'm going to serge them. You see the seams in here, they're not finished yet. So I'm going to serge that, and then I'm going to top stitch it down 1/4 inch all the way down each side front.
Okay, so it's a little roughly pinned up, but now we have the side, front, and center front of the bodies stitched, and you can see it includes the top stitching on the top as well, going over the bust lines. Everything is ready to go there. So now the next thing we're doing, we have the side back and the bodice back. The bodice back was cut one on fold. So what's going to happen next, we're stay stitching the side backs of this, clipping the curves and attaching them in the same princess seam manner as the side front. All right, so now we have the center back panel, and I have the two side seams stitched so I can stitch each from the top to the bottom with my presser foot to the left just because it's comfortable. Next, I'm going to stitch this down. All right, everyone, so next we have the fronts and backs assembled, pressed, top stitched. Now you can see I have pinned as accurately as I can the joining of the front and back bodices. So the next thing that we're doing here is we are stitching front and back bodice together. If I'm satisfied with how they've come together at those seams, then we're going to serge it, and then we attach the side seams. Next, we're on to the sleeves. And so now we have two bodies, fronts and a back here on the ironing board. Anytime you're doing shoulder seams that are close together like this on a serger, what you're going to want to do is press those seams towards the back. All right, everyone, I just wanted to show you what we have here pinned up on the dress form. Anyways, you can see that we have the bodice center front and side fronts attached with the top stitching in place on either side, pressed out really nicely. Very happy with how this turned out. Then when we step over here, you can see that I have the side seams of the body stitched, and those are just like pressing lines from the serging. They're not top stitch actually. And the reason why is the skirt over there, the side seams of the skirt are just single stitched like this. So I thought if I top stitch the side seams of this, it's gonna look weird beside the skirt. So I'm leaving this with a single seam like that. But then on the back, I've left the center of the bodice firmly pressed so that when I'm matching up waistline and collar line, it reduces the amount of work I have to do. But then aside from that, you can see here, despite the fact the lighting is not ideal, we have the body center back and the side pieces with top stitching in place on both sides. And so now from here, what we're doing next on this is we are actually attaching the sleeves, then the collar, and then the front. So the next directions on the sleeve show that on your 5/8 of an inch between these dots here, you're going to run a double line of stitching so that you can slightly gather this. It's not meant to be a gathered sleeve, but there'll be easing stitches. So first we're going to place easing stitches on both sleeves at the top. Then we're going to be stitching them together, right, so that it's in a circle like that, and we'll finish that as well. And then once we have that assembled sleeve like that, we're going to attach it to the bodice.
Thank you so much for tuning in today for my two-part video. I'm so glad you guys are watching and enjoying this series. I just want to say thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you next time with your needle and thread right here at Cassie Sews. Take care, guys. Bye.